it's hard to give yourself that discipline to not take the easy path, in terms of like how you want to live your life. The things that I do and the way that I live my life is very heavily going to affect whether or not my experience is going to turn out how I want it. I don't want to be advertised to. I want to keep as much of my privacy as I can. And, you know, I want to be in the world. I want to be in nature. I want to be meeting people face to face, having genuine connections instead of like, you know, likes and follows and clicks. And if I want those things, I'm gonna have to be disciplined and live a certain way. And I think watching how AI is changing the landscape, I'm very happy that I picked this path and that I'm sticking with it. I just watched a video of a guy talking about how AI is affecting, or already has affected, the internet, and how humans have become the minority of users and content on it. In that video, he was talking a little bit about the implications of it, how the artistic industries are suffering hard, and how very soon there will be so much generated, like automatically generated content, that you'll be hard pressed to find something that's genuinely made by a human. I want to talk a little bit about my perspective on the internet in general and how it affects our society, how it affects the way that people interact with each other. I started college in 2010, and around that time was when Facebook was really starting to pop off, get popular, and create these little communities of people that were like separated from the outside world. Before that, the concept of having an online community was pretty niche. It was for mostly people who didn't fit in IRL social groups, but I don't think it really like locked people into like only communicating online. But yeah, I had a group of friends around then, and they were like really trying to get me to get on Facebook. They're like, come on, you have to do it. Everybody's doing it. Like, if you don't do this, you'll have a hard time communicating with us. You'll have a hard time keeping up with your friends. And, you know, to me at that time, it wasn't important to keep track of what everybody was doing at all times. Like, I didn't care what people did while I wasn't hanging out with them. It wasn't something that I thought about, and I felt like if people knew those things about me, it was like there was no point to it. Like, I was losing privacy, and they were not getting anything meaningful from it because they weren't actually hanging out with me in person. But yeah, I mean, it was just so popular and useful to people for keeping in touch that over time, I just saw my group of friends kind of vanish from like in-person space, and yeah, it's like you got to see this transition of people going from, you know, only being able to hang out in person and communicate, socialize, to being able to do it from their own homes without ever meeting each other, never meeting up. And I thought, like, I felt like it was such a loss. Along with that, I was very invested in owning my files, owning things that are like owning the music files that I listen to. Also very interested in having like the videos that I liked saved to my computer. And people questioned that too. They were like, why would you download all of these files if you can get them from the internet? Like, you're just wasting space on your hard drive. And I thought of it more like, you know, if I have these things personally, and I maintain my collection, I make sure to not lose my hard drives, or, you know, keep backups and stuff. If I maintain my personal collection, then it's like I don't ever have to depend on another service, like a company, to you know, give me a promise that they'll keep this thing available to me forever. And I also thought it was a waste to have to use the internet, like bandwidth, every single time you want to see something. Like, if I want to listen to a song that I like, and I have to download it every single time I want to listen to it, it's like wasting energy. Wasting, you know, we don't have completely renewable energy yet, so, or we haven't become only dependent on renewable energy. So we're like harvesting these materials from the planet and then burning them up, downloading files that downloading files hundreds of times that we could have downloaded once and listened to. Just because it makes somebody more money. And now, you know, once they started introducing cloud storage for your files, people started using it, and they're like, oh, you don't have to have these hard drives anymore. And I'm like, no, you're paying money every single month for them to like keep your data somewhere else where you don't even own that hardware. Like, if they decide to stop hosting it for you, then your stuff's just gone, you know? And you're with your own hardware, it's a little bit more expensive, but you know, you pay for it once and then it's like, it's yours. You don't have to worry about monthly subscriptions. You don't have to think about, you know, how many services in the cloud am I paying for? And now with AI, you know, they're using your data that you gave to them, that you paid them to hold on to train AI to like basically rip off everything you've ever created. And I also think about it this way, is that, you know, people argue that by allowing companies to collect your data, you're getting better advertisement recommendations. And for me, that's like completely worthless, because I don't like being advertised to. Every time I like see an advertisement, I get this visceral feeling, like it disgusts me. Like the type of advertising that goes on is like completely mindless. You know, I think I find value in people creating art for the sake of promoting something, you know. But the kind of mass-produced advertisement that gets shown to people every day, I believe it's numbing your mind. Like it's every advertisement that you watch is like a little jab to your brain. And you know, after watching thousands and hundreds of thousands of advertisements and like hours and hours of it, your brain is like tenderized or smashed to a pulp. And you know, you tell yourself like, oh, I just have to get through this ad and then I can watch the thing that I want to watch. But really, you're like training your brain to become numb to what you are consuming. So along with this vow to like stay off of social media, to own my files, I also made a point to you know, reduce my consumption of advertisement as much as possible. So, you know, the very first day that I learned about ad blockers, ad blockers for like extensions for web browsers, I picked it up immediately. I was like, this is exactly what I'm looking for, and I'm going to be using this forever. And since then, there have even been web browsers that are like purpose built for the function of like preventing you from having to see advertisements, reducing the amount of data that websites are able to collect from you, all of that stuff. And you know, people thought it was like tinfoil hat kind of things, like all of the concerns I've had over time. But now it's becoming very apparent that, you know, these were legitimate concerns. people are starting to find out that the anonymous data collected from them can be combined in pieces to form a non-anonymous profile of you, like your health data that's been collected, your shopping habits, all of that stuff coming from different sources is anonymous, but people can put together a profile of what your preferences are, what your health condition is like, what your family situation is like, what your relationships are like, through all of this anonymously collected data. And when they combine it, that combination gives it a lot of value to people who are trying to advertise to you, or like trying to find out information about you. And then on top of that, there's AI again, ingesting all of this data and basically using the lump sum of information about humanity to become a replicant of it. And because of how fast it can work and how vast its capabilities are, it can outpace the creative ability of humans. Now, the things that it creates are not necessarily on par with or better than the things that people create, but it can create things that are like good enough to check all of the boxes for entertainment. It can make the things that give people dopamine hits. And it doesn't take hours and hours and days to make it. It doesn't have to, go through a lifetime of experience to generate these things. It's doing it every day at all hours of the day. And, some of it's being done automatically, or maybe even most of it's being done automatically. So, yeah, I mean, the precautions I've taken in my life were due to my speculations on how the future of the internet was going to go, how the future of technology was going to go, and how the future of society is going to go. And I'm proud of myself for sticking with it, sticking to my guns. Like, it's hard to give yourself that discipline to not take the easy path, in terms of like how you want to live your life. My preference for the outcome is very heavily dependent on the input. Like, the things that I do and the way that I live my life is very heavily going to affect whether or not my experience is going to turn out how I want it. I don't want to be advertised to you. I want to keep as much of my privacy as I can. And, I want to be in the world. I want to be in nature. I want to be meeting people face to face, having genuine connections instead of likes and follows and clicks. And if I want those things, I'm gonna have to be disciplined and live a certain way. And I think watching how AI is changing the landscape, I'm very happy that I picked this path and that I'm sticking with it. So if you're kind of on the fence about whether you want to go through all that work of cleansing your body and soul and mind of all of the garbage that is on social media, I would say put genuine effort into it, because it's totally worth it. The freedom that you lose becoming a consumer of all of that, you basically become trapped in this cycle of like just looking at things, consuming, and the escape to the consumption is creation. Create things. Have your own ideas. Make art. Voice your opinion. Be brave enough to reach out to people around you for social interaction. These are all like muscles in your mind that need to be exercised, otherwise you lose them. But the same way that a exercise applies to your body, like physical training applies to your body, this mental training will apply to your mind. It's really hard to get started, but once you get the ball rolling, it'll reinvigorate you. A lot of the stress that you feel in your life on a daily basis is, a lot of it's from being cooped up, being in a cramped space, not getting out and moving your body enough, not socializing enough. Looking at too many things that are making you anxious, like showing you what you don't have. You have a lot. You have a lot whether you realize it or not. So, if you take those first steps, that's the hardest part. You're going to be taking those first steps, and you got to keep walking. That's another hard part, but you keep walking, and then soon you can jog and start running, and you might trip a couple of times along the way, but you got to remind yourself that it's important to you as a person in this life that you're living to maintain sanctity and responsibility over the experience that you're having. So to everyone on the journey in life who's looking to have the most fulfilling experience possible, good luck to you. I'm working on it as well, and if you need recommendations for ways to, lock it down a little bit more, or get locked in a little bit more and get closer to your goals of experiencing the kind of life that you want, hit me up in the comments. I'll write as good of a response as I can come up with, and try to offer some helpful tips of things that I would do. But yeah, I mean, it's gonna take work, and you're gonna need to be personally motivated, and you're gonna have to do a lot of learning, which is all things that your mind registers as pain. Well, it registers them very similar to pain. So remember that every time you're experiencing frustration while you're growing, that's just part of the process. So yeah, good luck to you. Thanks for checking out this cave vlog, and I hope you enjoy your life and have fun and memorable experiences. Shoots.